How many mushrooms were you consuming at the time?
Well, we were consuming a lot and pretty regularly, not so much in quantity, so much all the time, but we kind of incorporated them into our diet because we didn't have a lot to eat. We didn't bring enough food, and so we would kind of put them into the rice or the omelet or whatever. We didn't have a great deal of food, and they taste not bad, in the fresh form. So we were eating them quite regularly.
Okay.
And they were stimulating a great deal of conversation and speculation and funny ideas and all that. That we, we came up with this idea for what turned out to be the experiment at La Chorrera, which was the protocol for the experiment, if you want to put it that way, was downloaded to us by the mushroom, which presented itself pretty much as an intelligent entity of some kind, not necessarily the mushroom, but maybe something was communicating to us through the mushroom that was telepathic and that was suggesting all these ideas for an experiment that we could do that would do something, and and so we were more or less taking our marching orders from that source, and not really questioning it. And it's hard to talk about it. It's hard to explain the state we were in at the time, which is why I rarely discuss this in public, the details of the experiment at La Chorrera, because it's hard to explain. I just say, read the book. It's all there, it's all dissected in the book. But anyway, the mushroom came up with a lot of funny ideas that we thought we could actually kind of act on and do this biophysical experiment involving singing to mushrooms and singing to our own DNA and using sound to create some kind of a material that was, partly mind and partly matter. And that would, be in some ways the ultimate artifact in a certain way. And, so... Even at this time, it's strange to try and explain all this.
Right. In the book, you said the experiment at La Chorrera, you later wrote, was building a hyperdimensional vehicle out of the 4D transformation of my own DNA interlaced with the DNA of a mushroom. That probably doesn't even begin to explain it very well.
Yeah, well, that was the basic idea.
Okay,
That's
and
what
you conducted
it was.
these experiments while you were there.
We did the experiments while we were there.
Right.
The mushroom egging us on to do these experiments.
Over the course of days and days, or weeks and weeks?
Yeah, over the course of days and days, these ideas took form, and then we actually performed the experiment one night, March 4th, 1971, and what we had predicted would happen did not happen, because it could not happen. It would have violated all kinds of physical laws. Well, at that point, we didn't have any use for physical laws, and we totally expected that, but the universe had different ideas. It did not happen, but we had painted ourselves into a epistemological corner in some ways, so that what we had predicted did not happen, but something had to happen, because we had convinced ourselves that we were getting feedback from the future moment of this performance of the experiment, that confirmed that that up in the future, a few hours in the future, we'd performed the experiment and it had succeeded. So we knew before we did it that it was going to work. And then when we did it, it didn't work, but something else happened. And what happened was that we went on this, I guess we got, it depends on if you're looking at it from the inside or the outside. We went on a shared experience in which I basically became psychotic for 2 weeks and was cruising hyperspace, and Terence became psychotic in a complementary way in which he was completely focused on this reality and kind of being an anchor for me. And and it was like our companions by that time were not in this loop, and some of them were quite appalled at what was happening and thought, this is really spiraling out of control, and we need to get these two crazy people back into some kind of psychiatric intervention. And we were saying, no, it's fine. We perfectly understand each other, and this is how it's supposed to unfold, so relax. And fortunately that's what happened, because there was no way we could get to a hospital. We were in the middle of the jungle, so the process was able to play itself out.
And were you consuming mushrooms for this entire time, for the 2 weeks?
No, we're done with that. We were finished with that. We weren't continuing to eat mushrooms, but whatever biochemical processes we triggered continued. Okay. And it took about 2 weeks for everything to settle down and get back to normal, or more or less to baseline. I don't know that they ever got back to normal. They may still not be back to normal. But the thing is, so...
Did you record all of this at the time, like written down?
Oh, yeah. We were writing furiously, you know.
And the rest of the Brotherhood was doubting you, taking their own notes, trying to talk you out of this, trying to get you to leave?
They weren't so much taking their own notes. They were certainly doubting us. I mean, they were definitely alarmed, by what was happening, and like, these guys are just out of control, but we were like, just chill, we were just saying, everything's fine. This is unfolding exactly as it needs to. And Terence and I, were comfortable in this conceptual structure that we'd created, in this theoretical structure. We had a framework for what was going on, which was based partly on alchemy. We were both into alchemy, and we viewed this as an alchemical process. And the idea was to condense this thing, whatever it was, this mind-matter amalgam, which we call translinguistic matter, in a form that was visible. So it would be a visible artifact that we'd created out of mushrooms and sound and our own DNA, that we could actually, you could see it and be it at the same time. And it would be like, in that sense, it would be the ultimate artifact, because it would do anything your imagination told it to do. And, so crazy stuff, right?
But you weren't able to create that artifact.
We were not able to create, no, we wouldn't even be here if that had been the case.
But the experience of trying to do that brought you to another level.
Drove us both crazy. Right.
To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to londonrealacademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at londonrealacademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there, and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.